Welcome to Pollen Weather by Pollen Wise App. It's Wednesday, September 30th. I'm Landon Bunderson, and this is the place for daily allergy news and forecasts. Let's go first to the forecasted overnight lows. This has implications on tomorrow's forecast. On this map, we're looking for freezing temperatures. Those blue spots in the high elevations of the Rockies and the Black Hills of western South Dakota are the only locations that will see frost. Those locations have already seen frost, so that's not new. The pollen has already been suppressed. For the rest of us, there aren't really any locations that are going to see frost tonight, so no abrupt end to ragweed and chenopod seasons. Phoenix, that overnight low of 81 degrees combined with your forecasted highs in the 100s means that you have great temperatures for growing weeds. Interior West and Great Basin, you've got some higher than average lows and highs. That means you're going to keep the chenopod ragweed season going full steam ahead for a while. Just a reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Over on the pollen forecast, the eastern states are going to get widespread rain. That will keep pollen and mold quite low and even zero in many locations. Unfortunately, if you're not under that blanket of rain, you're going to have very high pollen. While most of us are on the downhill side of pollen, we've obviously got a few rough days left. I spent last night reviewing the data from Ragweed Alley. Unbelievable ragweed levels yesterday from our Dallas-Fort Worth sensors. Don't be surprised if we go above and beyond that forecast today and even max out at 100 on the pollen index. Just a note that ragweed in your area is a slightly different color than we normally see on our sensors, so it's currently being reported as chenopods. We're fixing that right away. Albuquerque, Denver, Dakotas, your pollen levels will be a bit milder than your neighbors to the west. Good news, Southern California levels are trending down, and California can use the good news. Before we talk about the mold map, I do want to remind everyone that as things cool off this fall, you might find yourself working in the garden or raking leaves. These activities are going to expose you to some high doses of mold spores. If you're mold sensitive, you're going to want to think about taking the proper precautions, masks, medication, or whatever you need to protect yourself. On the mold forecast, there are two locations with forecasts in the 90s, Oklahoma City and Sacramento. Las Vegas will hit 80 on the mold index. Note that San Diego mold is forecasted to hit 0. If you remember, the pollen forecast for San Diego was 20. Nothing like sea breezes. San Diego doesn't pay me anything to say this, but San Diego is a great place for somebody with allergies. Looking at air quality, you can basically disregard the red on the East Coast as rain is already falling this morning, cleaning that right up. Texas air quality hotspots are Houston and Dallas. Both areas have inversions, and the main problem is ozone levels there. If you're ozone sensitive, pay attention to those alerts. California, surprise, has more fires in extreme Northern California, and that smoke is swirling out to sea and smoking Seattle periodically. Today's feature is our highlight of the best and worst locations for the last 7 days. Sacramento has had the highest collective pollen this week. That's mostly ragweed and chenopods. It's been a long summer for the folks in Sacramento. They've been downwind of a lot of fires, and the pollen has been tremendously high. The best spot in the U.S. this week was Lafayette, Indiana. Lafayette has achieved the top spot before. I believe that was about 5 weeks ago. That's all we have for today. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can find previous episodes on the Pollen Channel on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the Pollen Wise app, the only place for real hourly pollen and mold counts.